Hello, and welcome to Pop and Heat, episode 22. I'm Kier.
And I'm Leash, and welcome to your new favorite wrestling podcast.
Welcome back, everybody.
Hello.
Here we are, episode 22.
That's right.
Should we be excited? 22, it's a lucky number. we got to find a reason.
We've been excited for every other episode.
That's it.
They're all milestones.
We get pumped up.
Yeah.
We enjoy what we do.
It's an accomplishment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
I think so.
Yeah.
That's why we continue to do it.
It's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun as well. So it's fun work.
Yeah, that's right.
For the most part.
Yes. For the most part, when we're not frustrated about technical difficulties and...
Yeah, well, that's the thing, right? The uncontrollables.
Yeah.
Not as fun.
We're working it out, though. It's going okay.
Indeed.
Yeah. Well, this evening, we have Friday Night SmackDown from May 3rd to open it up with.
Okay.
That'll be our first recap. It was at the Wells Fargo Arena in Des Moines, Iowa.
Yeah.
Des Moines or Des Moines? Now that I've said it out loud, no one has ever said Des Moines.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, now you've got everybody thinking.
Yeah. Well, that's what I like to do. That's what I'm here for.
Right.
To get the crowd thinking.
That's it. Yeah.
There was 7,164 people in attendance.
You're not a huge crowd.
No. And I said last time that I was going to get the capacity of these arenas so that we could compare that.
Right.
For reference. The capacity of the Wells Fargo Arena is 16,110. So we're just under half of that with this crowd. Now, that being said, we did talk about how about a quarter of the arena or stadium, wherever they are, is usually blocked off for the entrance area. So that factors in for sure, but it's still a low number, taking that into consideration for this show.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to say exactly how many seats are blocked out, right?
Yeah.
So, we're at the mercy of their word as far as whether or not these events are sellouts or not.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
One thing's for sure. They're doing okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, they're still making money regardless. I feel like it's a bit of a conspiracy when they're saying every show is sold out. And my theory still stands that I think that they are sold out of the tickets they release. Not necessarily a sold out arena, sold out of the tickets that they endeavored to sell. So.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, who knows?
Who knows? Well,
the shadow knows.
We can only theorize. Opening this show was a match with LA Knight and Damian Priest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't let you do that. Should I start over?
Yeah.
I'll do it again. Opening the show was a match with Damian Priest and LA Knight.
Yeah.
There we go.
I like it.
During this, we get the typical interference from Solo Sikoa.
Yeah. I mean, kind of knew it was going to happen because before the match kicked in, there was a little bit of a backstage kerfuffle with.
Yeah, that's right.
Fatu. Well, yeah. Fatu, Solo,
Priest,
and LA Knight just kind of saunters by on his way out to the ring.
Exactly. Yeah. 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 He walks by everybody.
Yep.
Not giving a kafooey.
Kafooey. All right. Mom swears.
Yeah.
I like it.
I got the mom brain. So yes, Solo interferes. It causes a disqualification. And then LA Knight and Damian Priest kind of team up to fend him off. But in the middle of that, we get Jacob Fatu runs out and kind of beats the crap out of the other two.
Yeah. So, we had a brief moment of the, opponents teaming up to lay a beating on Solo.
Yeah.
Which was fun. I was excited about that. And then naturally Fatu comes out and spoils all the fun. and whoops the crap out of both the guys. And I mean, that seems to be typical Fatu. Either he's destroying somebody twice his size or just taking on two guys at once.
Yeah, that's right.
With no little to no effort, like it's just unreal what this guy, like his lore right now, is through the roof. Like
Yeah.
he's like, I think we've said it before, he's like borderline mythical.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah, that's definitely the character he's going for. And he is, the current United States champion. So what are you gonna do?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know who's going to take that belt off of him, but whoever does, it's likely just going to be to make way for a storyline where Fatu is going to pursue a more prestigious title.
Probably.
That's the trajectory, right? I mean, he's going to that place. They've got Drew McIntyre coming backwards, essentially through the lineup to come and meet Fatu, right? So, I mean, you've got to see Fatu going to that place eventually.
I would think so. Yeah. I think Damian Priest is on his way up too. I mean, I've been kind of cheering for him for a while, but I like him involved in this storyline. It is a definitely one of the bigger storylines, so I'm excited to see him in that. I think he's gaining popularity.
Yeah, I mean, I like Priest too. I think, one of the other guys you like, McIntyre, is definitely the bigger star.
Yeah.
And to see him coming, into this feud with Fatu, I think that's what is really going to shine more light on him. That's Fatu's biggest opponent yet, I'd say.
Right. Okay. We'll see.
Yeah.
Next.
So that's how that ends. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Sorry. Yeah, it was a disqualification. That's how it ends due to the interference and a scuffle. So next we go into Pretty Deadly versus Fraxium. That's Nathan Fraser and Axiom.
Yeah, that's their second outing now.
That's right.
On the main roster.
Yep.
These guys are good. They're high flyers. They're a bit smaller than the average.
Well,
superstar.
yeah. I mean, and compared to a tag team like Pretty Deadly, I mean, they're pretty tall guys.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're not massive, but they are tall for sure.
Definitely,
so.
yeah. I think they're more like the luchador style, which lends itself to the smaller wrestler, right?
Of course it does, yeah.
I think they're, really, really a solid looking tag team, and I mean that comes from lots of reps down in NXT, but second outing out, they look like they've been there a long time.
Yeah, they're definitely really good. Nathan Fraser does hit a Phoenix Splash for the win, so Fraxium ends up winning this match. I don't think that's super surprising.
No, I mean, you wouldn't think, if they're trying to make them something credible, that they'd hand them a loss, but Pretty Deadly's been on a decent trajectory as well recently, so hard to say which way it was going to go. But 2 for 2 for Fraxium. Good job.
That's right, exactly. Yeah, 2 for 2. I just find WWE seems to be kind of pushing that. Well, you kind of mentioned already, but really pushing that luchador style through lots of storylines, including it. So
it's huge right now. I mean, I can't remember the number, but it was got to be close to 20 luchador wrestlers on the current roster. They've now purchased AAA as well. So, I mean, they are not kidding around when it comes to that. They are all in.
Yeah, it's awesome. Next, moving on, we had a bit of a segment in the ring with Tiffany Stratton, Nia Jax. Bit of an argument going on there between these two ladies after the return of Nia Jax and her perceived betrayal that Tiffany Stratton kind of sprang on her to get her Money in the Bank cash in and the title and everything. So there's that existing feud going on. During their bickering, Naomi comes out to be like, hold up.
Yep.
I'm going to get that belt.
Yeah, well, she says, last year I was trying to, stake my claim at the title, and you guys were doing all kinds of underhanded things to keep me from getting it. So I feel like I should be a part of the title story right now. And
Yeah.
I don't necessarily disagree with that, but I mean, she's the new Naomi is just a bad person. So, you're not rooting for her in any way, right?
Yeah.
But I do like the Nia thing. Like, I think I said this in the last episode or the one before. I think Nia deserves to be coming back at Tiffy for this. She didn't really get the rematch, and it was turned into that tag team at Elimination Chamber with Trish Stratus. I think that she deserves to have another kick at the can there, and I would like to see those two styles.
Yeah, it's interesting because Nia Jax, as you say, didn't really get to finish that storyline out. And she kind of got pushed out on the road to WrestleMania. We talked about this last episode, but she is an extremely successful heel. I mean, there were tons of time where during our hottest of the heat, she was the winner, or at least in consideration of, because she goes out and it's booing to the point that it's hard for her to speak. Now, Nia does a great job of speaking over all of that. So, I mean, I definitely think she deserves to be in there and to be in the spotlight. Naomi is in her kind of uber heel era. I think when she comes out, she says something like, something about the car. I'll push you in front of the car or under the car.
Not only will I push you onto a car, I'll push you under one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Obviously referencing the Jade Cargill attack.
Yeah.
So,
speak of the devil.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So she's gaining momentum there, but as she gets in the ring and, the three of them are in there, we get Jade Cargill coming out, because anytime Naomi's involved in anything, Jade Cargill's coming out to shut it down.
That's her reason. Yeah. And, she also wants to keep her name in the hat with this Tiffy thing. She had the interference in her match last week, and I really dug the whole Jade Tiffy thing too. I like Jade I like Tiffy, or Jade for that matter, in almost any storyline. I dig these two. They're a couple of my favorites in the women's division right now, and I think that this could go in any number of directions, and I'll be just fine with it.
Even the announcers during this segment said, as Jade Cargill's in there, one of the or I don't know if it was later in the show, spoilers, but they were saying, she's one of the most impressive physical specimens in the industry. We say it all the time. She's a living action figure. It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, you would think that as her star, continues to shine in WWE, other doors are going to open for her.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not a whole lot of human beings that possess her physical qualities, let's say. She's something else, and Hollywood's going to take notice. She's going to be in other things.
Yeah.
I would think that's for sure.
Yeah.
But anyways, all this to say, you can't put four women like this in the ring and not expect some drama.
Big brawl between everybody at that point. It ends up with kind of Naomi and Nia Jax out of the ring. Tiffany, Stratton, Jade Cargill in the ring, kind of circling each other, but they've pushed the other two out. And Nick Aldis comes out to say, you're all going to be out here fighting. I'm going to give you a tag team match.
Yeah.
Later in the night. So we had that to look forward to later in that evening. And you've got kind of unlikely tag teams happening here, because you've got Tiffany Stratton, Jade Cargill, who we know Jade Cargill's after that bout. They're going to be in a tag team. Then you've got these two heels who don't really get along, Naomi and Nia Jax, in a tag team. So definitely fraught with interesting things.
Yeah, no, I couldn't have said it better. It was a lot of interesting character mixes, and made for some good entertainment.
Yeah. So we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah.
Rolling right into a match with The Miz and Aleister Black after that. So Aleister Black, his first match since coming back, and beating on The Miz in a promo last week.
Yeah. So the culmination, or follow-up to
result of.
his attack on The Miz last week, and he made pretty quick work of him again this week. Another one of those roundhouse kicks. What's it called? Black Mass?
His move's called Black Mass,
Yeah.
I said it's kind of like sweet chin music, but
Yeah, very similar.
Yeah.
Which now they call a super kick, right?
Yeah.
All the Usos do
all the
it.
kinds of names. Somebody was asking me this the other day. I think maybe at work somebody was asking me, did they still have crazy names for all the moves? And I was like, yeah, I mean, a lot of them are very similar moves. They just get renamed depending on which wrestler is doing the moves. So,
Yeah, for sure. Oh, yeah. I mean, we could probably do a whole episode on moves that have multiple names.
Yeah.
Yeah. We should.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Fun.
But yeah.
Yeah, Carmelo Hayes is out there supporting The Miz. But Aleister Black does kind of overcome any interference from him. He hits Black Mass for the win, and he defeats The Miz, and that's how that ends.
Yeah, they tried to play dirty and get the win, but it did not work. Yeah, I mean, they're definitely making him look like a bit of a badass.
Yeah. He's interesting. I mean, we didn't know too much about him. I know he was in the main roster before and then went to AEW. I don't know. I haven't seen enough of him to develop a definite opinion on him yet, but he's definitely interesting. So,
Yep. We'll keep watching.
Next, we had Zelina Vega versus Piper Niven. So all of this starts out pretty funny. Like there's a whole backstage thing that happens. Chelsea Green is in mourning. She's got an entire black veiled kind of outfit on.
Wonderfully ridiculous.
With an American flag pin on her lapel. Like she's at a
funeral.
Funeral, yeah. Like I was trying to say like a government funeral or like a soldier's funeral or something. She's just like terribly in mourning over all of this. And Piper gets picked kind of over her to have a match.
Love it.
Qualifying match, I guess, for Zelina Vega. If she wins this, she gets a title match against Zelina Vega.
Yeah.
So Chelsea's definitely distraught over that.
Yeah, and I think I had mentioned on our last episode, like, why are they still her secret Hervis?
Yeah.
Why
she holds no
are they
title.
serving just another wrestler that's not a champion? And I mean, the whole concept was that she was the United States champion. So, Secret Service, it's a funny thing. At this point, we're just like, why?
Yeah.
Like, why would you guys be foolish enough to just serve this girl that you could probably beat?
I was thinking it would be really funny if all of a sudden now she was just like, I renounce the United States. I'm Canadian.
Yeah.
Like makes a big announcement.
Too late, Chelsea. You done pissed us off. You said the United States was better than Canada when we were in the crowd in Canada.
That's right.
Friday Night SmackDown in Toronto. Like, man, that was a shady move.
I'm surprised they haven't revoked your passport.
Really?
Yeah.
No kidding.
Chelsea Green does attempt to interfere in this match, but she accidentally hits Piper and kind of causes some issues there. So Zelina Vega ends up being able to defeat Piper Niven. And this match was a really good back and forth. I feel like without that, I'm not sure. I mean, Zelina Vega is a great wrestler. The size difference between she and Piper Niven is pretty, that's not the right word. I can't find the right words today, and it's driving me crazy.
It's all right. Got you. Significant.
Significant. Sure.
That's the one.
That's close enough. I don't know if it's the exact word I wanted. Anyways, it is significant, and watching them in the match, it's, hard to tell how Zelina is going to win it, but she does.
Yep.
So
I'm pretty sure that at like a Crown Jewel or some Saudi Arabia PLE a few years ago, Zelina Vega and Piper Niven did
you said that
a match. She might have been Dewdrop back then.
Yeah, she did have a previous character of that. I'm not sure. I feel like I've seen like clips of it or something, but I do remember you mentioning that.
I remember seeing her hit that Code Red powerbomb thing on her and just thought, like, how's this possible? She's a third of her size.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy, but Zelina is a super impressive wrestler. And I think you had said that her man is
Yes, so I just
Aleister
found this.
Black.
You're right. I just found this out that Zelina Vega. You know what? And I'm saying this, and I had never fact checked it, but I did read it online that Zelina Vega and Aleister Black are married or together, one or
So
the
there
other.
you go, back-to-back wins for the couple.
That's pretty cool.
It's
Yeah,
a fun night.
interesting couple. A lot of these relationships, real life relationships, are not in any of the storylines. So it's interesting when you find out about them because your brain would have never even went there because we're all following the storylines, and sometimes there's relationships in the storylines. So
Right.
it's interesting.
Yeah, it's cool. And
Yeah.
like I say, nice for them both to get a win on the same night.
Pretty cool.
Something
Yeah.
to celebrate afterwards. I love when we both win our matches in a night.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah.
the best.
Yeah. When you and I do.
Yeah.
Yes, in our staggering wrestling careers that we have. Yeah, I'm out there wrestling all the time.
I was gonna say we're pretty avid with it. Yeah.
Toddlers to put pajamas on.
That's right.
Yeah.
We don't win very often with
We
them though.
don't. No. Yeah. That's a losing battle. Next, we had Rey Fenix versus Santos Escobar. Back to the luchadors we go. Yeah, I mean, this match is interesting. I think it came from some backstage disagreement between the two of them.
Yeah.
Um,
Santos talking some smack about him losing
Right.
to
El Grande.
Starbucks Coffee Man.
Yeah, Starbucks Coffee Man. I like that.
Yeah.
Starbucks Coffee Man.
Chad Gable.
Yeah, cough, Chad Gable.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, that comes from that Santos really trying to put him down for that match. And I mean, predictably, that ends with Rey Fenix winning this.
Yeah.
A little bit more of a predictable tactic here. And then, Rey Fenix rose like a phoenix from the ashes of those comments.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful.
No, too far.
Yeah,
was I reaching?
No, it was good.
Okay.
And he's now successfully gone through all of Legado del Fantasma.
Right. Yeah.
So good on you, Rey Fenix.
Yeah, you're
quite
on a
the debut.
rocket ship. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, very similar to his brother. And from what I've heard, the idea here is just this: to build their star power, make them both quite viable, and then the Lucha Bros will be coming together as a tag team to sort of redefine the tag teams.
I think
WWE.
likely because in other universe they were a tag team. It is a good storyline for WWE to pull because as they individually build their stars, when they do come together to be a tag team, the fans will be pretty excited for that. They'll work that in somehow as a surprise help to one of them, and they'll team up.
Yeah, well, and I mean, judging by what they're able to do on their own, I can only imagine what sort of tag team moves they've worked on.
Yeah,
together over
for
the years.
sure.
So that'll be a treat.
They're both
to watch.
amazing wrestlers. Yeah, it's incredible.
I think too that we often talk about the tag team division being a little lackluster at times. It sometimes, a lot of times, feels quite repetitive. You're just kind of getting the same matches between the same teams all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is true, but it felt like when I was a kid in the golden era, there were a lot more tag teams. Maybe that's not true, but it feels like each show, like Raw and SmackDown, has like 4-5 teams, and that's that.
Yeah.
It doesn't make for a ton of compelling story. So all this to say that if the Lucha Bros do become a thing, I think it'll add a lot of much needed excitement to that division.
Yeah, for sure. They do need some significant storylines because there's just nothing interesting enough to make the draw to the tag teams anything really. It's not important enough. A lot of what we've seen, like you said, is really repetitive. The same feuds all the time, and it's just kind of boring. So.
Well, and it's more about the star power within the division. And so, when you take a guy like Triple H and Stone Cold and make them a tag team and they go on and become the tag team champions. Well, hell yeah. Everybody gives a damn about the tag team division all of a sudden, right? They need to do things like that more. Like Liv and Raquel, they're compelling because she's a star.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that works because of that fact. There isn't really any of that happening in the men's tag team division right now. And building these solo stars of Ray Phoenix and Penta should hopefully, like I say, add some of that shine.
Yeah, I mean, you've got like for people that are newer to watching too, when you've got like MCMG and DIY. Like, to be honest with you, for a while, I've got it now, but for a while there was so much going on in the tag team division that was repetitive and circular, and like I was getting confused between DIY and MCMG. Again, I'm newer, so I'm just learning who everybody is, and I'm like, I would get those tag teams mixed up all the time because of the similarities between them. So, to have a tag team in there that really stands out is important. I mean, you do have group, the Street Profits, for example. The Street Profits do stand out. They do great promo work. They have very defined characters. So when you have something like that, it can really stand out. The rest of it kind of gets all muddled together.
I agree. I really like the Street Profits, but again, they're not bringing that star power, right? None of the tag teams are. And I don't mean any disrespect by that. But again, I don't want to keep calling out like old era tag teams, but that's where they were getting it, like Kane and Undertaker. People dug that tag team.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Like,
for sure.
You take a couple of established superstars on their own and put them together, and all of a sudden it's just new life in that division.
Right.
Yeah. Because it, lends credibility to whoever's in the ring with them. All of a sudden you care about those other teams because they're in the ring with them.
Yeah.
Right. So if they were to do that with a couple more tag teams on each side, or even just one, one more in the men's division and one more in the women's division, because you've already got Liv, right? So I think it would make a huge difference. Huge.
Yeah. Well, they have enough wrestlers in there that they sometimes seem to not know what to do with. So they could definitely throw some more in the tag division.
Well, that's it. That's a great point. Take some of these people that are just kind of sitting around, make a tag team out of them.
Yeah.
And go and
Bob's your uncle.
Make it something great.
Yeah.
Gosh, WWE.
We have ideas.
For the right price, I can be available to help with your storyline creation.
We clearly have some ideas.
The price is not that much. Yeah.
We'd settle for a podcast sponsorship. Thank you.
Yeah.
Next, we had the tag match stemming from the promo earlier in the night. Jade Cargill, Tiffany Stratton, Naomi, and Nia Jax. So in this match, all right, so we end up, I kind of jump to the end here. We end up with Jade Cargill powerbombing Nia Jax for the win.
Yeah. Pretty impressive.
Pretty impressive. Pretty crazy.
Yep.
Tiffy kind of comes out to the ring and holds Jade's arm up. They're, in this, they're a tag team. They've won together. She kind of celebrates with her, but then Jade gets a hold of the belt and Tiffy's like, that's mine. Give it back. What are you doing?
And we talked about that.
Yeah.
Put your hands on a belt that ain't yours.
Yeah. Don't do it. It's bad luck. So they're kind of almost having like a little like tug of war, like passive aggressive, like it's mine. No, it's going to be mine. And they're like doing a tug of war. And while this is all happening, to your point, bad luck, we get a post-match attack. Post-match attack.
You can't be sleeping on Naomi, man.
Naomi comes up, attacks Jade. Kind of Tiffy gets hurt in the scuffle. Everybody's rolling around. Naomi comes up on top, holding the belt up in the air.
Yep. And I got to say, that's a bad omen for her now.
Yeah.
You grab the belt when it's not yours. Bad luck's coming your way.
Yeah.
Jade did it. Naomi came and kicked her ass. And then Naomi did it. someone's coming to kick your ass, Naomi.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be Tiffy.
Don't touch things that aren't yours.
That's right.
Yeah. You didn't earn it. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that was fun.
Kind of what happened. So Jade and Tiffy do win the match. But you know, due to the post-match attack, Naomi's left standing in the ring.
Yeah, and as we said earlier, I feel like this is going to continue to build into a number of different things as the weeks and months go by.
Lots of meat here with these 4. Like lots of storyline can be built out of this. I think it's a good start to some feuds going forward. So lots of opportunity for Tiffany Stratton too as the current title holder. She's got lots of opponents here to choose from. So
yeah, you know, I like them putting her up against credible opponents as well, because you want to build that star power. And I really hope they do. I hope they keep the belt on her for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, why not?
Yep.
She's
great.
As good as anybody else out there. I really like
superstar.
it. And yeah, she's selling tickets, guys. Like, she's putting people in the seats. I'll tell you that. I got a buddy that comes over to watch on Friday nights, and she's one of his favorites. And, you know, for that casual watcher, you know, when you see somebody like that can jump around and do backflips and things like that in the ring, it's a quick grab, right? Like, she is a visual spectacle, and she's, you know, making fans out of new watchers. So, you know, I hope they keep the belt on her.
She's got all the flashy stuff, and she's got the personality. I love all the acrobatics, like all the gymnastics type stuff she does is phenomenal. I like that too. So, she's great. We hope she continues on down this run.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
Go Tiffy, go.
It is flipping Tiffy time.
Yeah. No more Tiffy time tag teams. Yeah, did I get that right? Tiffy time tag teams.
That was like she sells seashells by the seashore.
Yeah, that was what I was going for.
All right, good.
No more Tiffy time tag team.
Well done. Well done. All right, that was it for SmackDown.
Yeah.
So we have Raw to roll right into.
Mm-hmm.
That was on May 5th. That's at the CHI Health Center, which makes it sound a little bit like it's at a hospital, but it wasn't. And that's in Omaha, Nebraska.
Right. Omaha.
Omaha.
Where all the exciting stuff happens.
Yeah, Des Moines and Omaha.
Yeah, ripping through the exciting.
Sorry, people that live there, but this weekend is, you know.
I mean, listen, I'm not gonna assume that their town is, you know, less exciting than ours.
I have not been there. I cannot say, but not a couple of the more well-known areas of the United States is all we're saying. Okay. You're probably great. I'd love to go there. Anyway, moving on.
Omaha.
Let's
go.
Go Omaha.
We're like heels in this episode.
Yeah, what's happening?
We're ripping on the crowd.
Trying not to get too dark.
Next year we'll say nice things and you'll forget all about it. Like it'll be a face turn.
By the time we roll around next year, we'll have been to Omaha and we'll have wonderful things to say.
No doubt.
11,558 in attendance. So we've gone up for sure from SmackDown. But this building does have a 17,560 person capacity. So
right, but in thinking about how like an end is blocked off, I would guess 11,000 plus to be pretty damn close to maximum capacity.
Yeah, it's a good point. I don't know what the capacity is based off of either. Like, is capacity all of the seats plus all of the floor seats taken up, right? Like
all of the people working in the concourse.
Exactly. Yeah. So I don't know. Like, I mean, you're laughing, but it's a good point. Like, what is their capacity? But I don't know the basis of any of these stats, and that's the problem. But anyway,
yeah, it's a good crowd. It's a good thing to gauge it on, though. I like it.
Yeah,
I like it.
Opening segment for this show was Jey Uso. He's out in the ring calling out Logan Paul. But in the middle of this, we get Paul Heyman.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Very tanned Paul Heyman.
Oh my God. It wasn't tanned as we saw later.
Bronzed.
Quite a bit of makeup because as he started to sweat,
Yeah. Extra bronzy. He comes out, interrupts, and he cuts an extremely passionate promo in the ring.
One way to put it.
It was it was good. I'm not going to say it wasn't good. We did think Paul Heyman may have a heart attack out there.
Yeah, definitely. It looked like he was about to burst, like he was really, really red-faced. And to the point where
intense.
Jay literally asked him, like, "Are you okay?"
Yeah.
And it was hilarious.
He was spitting a lot too. But I was like, if I'm Jey Uso, I'm getting a shower. Like Paul Heyman's.
Oh yeah, he was frothing
and spraying everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very passionate. And so yeah, to your earlier point, this was a good promo.
Yeah.
I gotta say, like, the writing when it comes to stuff like this is great. Like, I really like the angle that Cena came at for his heel turn, how it's like, this is a 20-year dysfunctional relationship with the crowd, and I've had it. This is why I'm turning. I love that this promo was an explanation for Paul to say, like, this is why I did what I did. Like, my best friend forced me to make a decision where I'd have to turn on this man that's going to essentially abuse me. And he did that knowing that was going to happen. That's not my best friend. And I've been abused by this other man for so long. And like, I had to make a choice. And I really like the justification, whether you're buying it or not. I just like that it's something.
Yeah.
I like that you're giving me a story.
It doesn't feel forced.
And, it felt like Jay was listening and kind of going like, well, damn, like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, I can see why you did what you did. He
didn't really dispute it. He just said, what does this have to do with me?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you okay? What does this have to do with me?
Yeah, exactly. Well, what it did have to do with him is that, none of that really did. But Paul Heyman says, I didn't come out here to talk about that. What I came out here to talk to you about was the next step in our plan. Our being Seth Rollins, Bron Breakker, Paul Heyman. And the next step in their plan was to come after Jey Uso's title.
Well, I have often, probably more often than not, referred to that title as the Seth Rollins title.
Yes.
He was the inaugural champ for that belt. I just feel like it's his belt, and I love this. I'm like, all right, go get it.
Yeah.
For me, I felt like it was as simple as that. Go and take your belt back now that it's on Jay. That should be an easy task.
Yeah.
Well,
you're also biased. You're a Seth Rollins fan.
Hell yes.
Predecessing this.
I just think, like, I mean, I don't know. He's a lot bigger. He's a much bigger star. He's a better wrestler. His arsenal of moves is incredible. Basically, like, Seth Rollins does everybody's moves.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, he does.
Well, he runs a wrestling school too, right? Doesn't he?
I feel like that sounds familiar. Yes.
I'm pretty sure he does. Anyway, so I think he's, it's not just his job, it's his entire life, which I think for a lot of wrestlers it is, but not for everybody. Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, his arsenal is everyone's arsenal combined.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like, I don't really know of anybody else in WWE that's quite like that. Cody to a certain degree, but not the same.
Yeah.
And Jay, no disrespect, but like, Jay's on the opposite end of that spectrum where it's like he's often criticized for having a very minimal arsenal of moves. And in my opinion, this just seems like a take candy from a baby kind of scenario.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I am here for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, I dropped it.
You dropped your tagline. Yeah. I'm into it.
I say that sometimes.
Yeah. That's a real life tagline. And he used it in a podcast, and I'm proud. Yeah. So this basically what happens here is that Paul Heyman challenges Jey Uso on behalf of Seth Rollins. It is accepted for later that night. So there is to be a title match, Seth Rollins, Jey Uso, later in the evening.
Yeah, Paul Heyman walks backstage, meets up with Seth and
Right.
Braun and says he fell for it. I can't
this is where we
believe he
see
fell
Paul
for it.
Heyman's face melting.
Yeah, exactly. And Seth says, I don't want to tell you I told you so, but I told you so.
Yeah.
And Braun says, what, and, Seth walks away and Braun says, what does he mean? Like, he fell for it. Like, what do you mean he fell for it? What does he mean? I told you so. And Paul just basically says, like, CM Punk and Roman Reigns, two of the biggest stars, prepared to face Seth at WrestleMania,
and
they
lost.
both lost to him. Jey Uso's not prepared. This is a spur of the moment match. He's not going to stand a chance. Seth knew this was coming, and he's been preparing for this.
It's a no-brainer, is basically what he's saying.
Yeah.
We're prepared. He's not. It's a no-brainer. We're going to win this. We're taking it home. He fell for it. We tricked him into accepting this match for right away, and he has not prepared himself for it. So there's no way we can lose.
What he doesn't explain is that WrestleMania was a triple threat match. There's no disqualifications. Paul Heyman interfered, hit both of the opponents in the nuts, and handed Seth Rollins a chair where he beat the other guys. I mean, little different. Yeah. Little different than a one-on-one match where disqualification is a thing.
Yeah. That is important information, a valid point that was left out for sure.
I thought so.
Yeah.
Not so wise man.
No. Well, he's dying with the lie, I guess, backing up his new visionary. So
I guess, yeah.
Next we had Penta versus JD McDonagh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so during this match, there was a scary moment though for us with JD McDonagh.
Yeah.
Because Penta, I don't know, was it a Penta driver or what was it? He doesn't move.
It was, they call it the Mexican Destroyer. Is that what it is?
I don't think so because he did do a Mexican Destroyer at the end, but this happened before the end.
Yeah, so that's the one where it's like a flippy power bomb thing, but on the head. Yeah, and that's where JD. Yeah. I mean, God,
so
this
where
guy
our
just
worry
came
was is that JD. It looks like JD McDonagh lands on the back of his head / neck, which is what it's kind of supposed to look like in that move. But they always they do it in a way to not injure anybody. Anyways, it looked like they were not successful in protecting his head and neck during that move, and it was scary. I thought he was going to end up hurt again. And he just got back from like a pretty severe injury where he smashed himself on the announce table. So, which was another scary moment. So we were a little worried for JD.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, protect your head, man. Protect your melon. They're making all these jokes about the size of his head. It's like it can't get out of the way. Yeah. Like, oh my God.
I'm scared for him.
It's getting scary. Yeah. Poor little guy.
Oh my God. So Judgment Day does interfere. Finn Balor gets ejected by a referee. Penta pins McDonagh with a Mexican Destroyer. So Penta does win this match, and we get a lot of teasing of kind of the Judgment Day breakdown here. Finn Balor, obviously, kind of masking his unhappiness with the rest of the group since Dom won his title. So anyways, just more tension there within that faction.
I mean, another impressive outing for Penta. He literally overcame 4 of these guys.
Yeah, for sure.
To get this win. Slightly, hard to believe, but impressive nonetheless. But yeah, this Judgment Day demise is taking way too long.
It is taking a long time. We've been predicting it for months and months and months. So it definitely is taking a long time.
I mean, Finn has been going after Dom, subtly or not so subtly for, I want to say, at least 6 months.
Yeah, and I think they could have ended that with Dom's win and just had some kind of big fallout from that. And it's like Dom quote unquote betrayed him and won, and then they're still dragging it out.
So yeah, I mean, I thought that too, but I guess what's likely going to happen, and I do mean I guess, this is a guess. I'm thinking that this is going to set up to Dom having some important match, and then Finn essentially sabotaging him
Right.
to create the ultimate demise. I figured that's, where he goes, you screwed me at WrestleMania,
Yeah.
stole my moment. Let me make it all about him, and really get this train rolling. And I love this. And then once that happens, they can drag that out for a while too, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I don't know where the other guys, Carlito and JD, are going to fall, but I think, Dom, Liv, Raquel, they're going to go off in their own direction, and Finn's going to go in his. And I think they can milk that for a while.
Yeah, yeah. For sure. It's interesting stuff. I like the Judgment Day. I like this feud in the Judgment Day. I would like it to speed up a little bit more, but it's fine.
I liked Judgment Day with Rhea and Damien. I feel like Judgment Day has they're lacking credibility without them. And as much as Liv is awesome, she's not original. Like, she still doesn't feel like you're really Judgment Day. Like, you kind of came in after, and Judgment Day wasn't Judgment Day anymore when you joined, right?
And she's going to be off for an undetermined, we assume a few weeks, but it's maybe undetermined that she's going to be off. So
yeah,
we don't know. She won't even be back for a while, so they got to carry it without her for a little while.
Yep. Which is interesting, right? So, I mean, when Jade gets hurt, they were going to take the tag team titles away until Naomi stepped up to fill in. Why haven't they said anything about that with Liv and Raquel?
I would assume that was because it was all part of that storyline.
Well, you got to keep up with story then, right? Be consistent.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, next we had Sheamus versus Austin Theory. So Grayson Waller kind of tricks Austin Theory into this match, and we didn't know who it was going to be against at first. And then Sheamus comes out, kind of a surprise return. I think since Royal Rumble. I don't think he's been back since Royal Rumble. Yeah, I was going to say
Rumble. Yep. Good to see our redheaded pal back.
Yeah, we like Sheamus.
Translucent man.
Yeah, brighter than the sun, our Sheamus. Right. Yeah. And so it was a surprise entrance from him, and Austin Theory looking a little worried when he first comes out. Grayson Waller rolling very quickly out of the ring,
which I thought was a nice little boost to Sheamus's confidence.
Sure.
Yeah. Theory's no slouch. This dude is a weapon.
Yeah.
So for him to act that fearful, I thought that was nice.
Definitely built some lore around Sheamus, like that he's someone to be feared. So yeah,
I liked it.
Yeah. And he is to be feared because he kind of dominated this match, and he ends up winning with a brogue kick. And I think, this whole thing, kind of much like the last match we talked about, is building tension. It's building tension between Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. Another breakdown of a grouping that we have been expecting for a while, and it just kind of drags out a little bit.
You're right. It's like they don't know what they want to do, right? They can't decide, so they're just sort of lightly keeping the possibility alive.
Will they, won't they?
But Michael called it out during this episode, and he said, when is Theory going to realize that Waller is only in this for himself?
Right.
So I feel like that is going to kickstart, this demise.
Yeah.
Which is good. We need some good story like this. As we go into, SummerSlam season, essentially, right? The road to SummerSlam, which is going to be 2 nights for the first time ever this year. Essentially like WrestleMania Part 2. Let's get it going. Let's get some juicy story happening.
That's right. Love it. And what is it? What did they just decide was in Perth?
Oh, right. It's a big deal thing. I can't remember the event.
Because Rhea is there right now in Australia for promoting that because it's like Takeover Perth. It's gonna drive me
They
crazy.
said they were like taking over the whole city.
One of the PLEs. Yeah, we'll find out. I'll look it up in a second here. But I was just gonna say I would assume that Grayson Waller is gonna be likely a big part of that.
Oh yeah, they have to,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Next we have Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria. So Becky Lynch comes out to kind of address the crowd on her own. She calls Bailey garbage. And then she calls Lyra Valkyria recycling, less offensive form of garbage.
Yeah, it was good. There was a few parts that I thought weren't as strong, but all in all, this promo was pretty decent. And Becky's gonna have a bit of rest. She's been gone for a year.
I love Becky. She goes a little too over animated at times, or maybe it's just like a touch too much to be believable sometimes. This will be my only criticism of Becky Lynch, okay? Because she's the man. But I do think I think she's doing great at these heel promos. People are booing her. She's getting the boos. She's getting the heat from the crowd, but she does go a touch too far sometimes, I think.
It's interesting though because she's got to do something different, right?
Yeah.
Like, so because we talked about this last week, but she's attempted this heel turn before, and it does not generally work out well for her. The crowd loves her. She's one of the biggest stars of all time, and they're not going to boo her easily. So we did notice that last week she started attacking the home crowd, which is generally a good way to get a boo. But you start putting down some of the other beloved stars through the company, as well as the people in the audience, and just saying some downright nasty things. It you stick to it long enough, and you'll start getting the boos, and she did. And there was one point though where she, like, during her promo, talks about some of her accolades, essentially, like kind of like toots her own horn, and the crowd's just like, "Oh yeah, we love you," and it's like, "Oh shit, we forgot."
And I looked at each other and we were like, "They can't help it. They can't help but cheer for her. They're just booing her like crazy, and they can't help it. They love her too much."
Yeah.
I love that. I love that about her. So when she says that though, she calls Lyra Valkyria recycling, as I said. Lyra Valkyria comes out and says, "Did you seriously just call me recycling?" And then says, "You've recycled everything from everyone else to become what you are." All of this culminates in a big fight breaking out between the two of them. And Lyra Valkyria is able to hit Nightwing on Becky Lynch and stand over her at the end of the promo.
I gotta say, this for me was probably the biggest moment for Lyra in her career.
Oh yeah.
I mean, sure. I'm talking everything that she's done so far. I think this promo, because she comes out and tells Becky Lynch, one of the biggest stars in the world, one of the biggest wrestling stars of all time, "You've been away for a year and everyone got better.
Yeah.
Now you're just not good enough." And I was just like, damn.
Yeah.
Because
she said a few really great things in that. There was another thing that she said. I just had it on the tip of my tongue and I lost it. Keep explaining your point and I'll think.
Well, Becky's style, we've talked about this. Like, Becky's not necessarily the biggest high flyer. Like, she's not doing Io Sky things. She's not a super powerhouse. So she's got to find, where her lane is, and she's good. But in this era of all this, like, super high flyer, like, I thought that was an interesting comment to make. And I'm not putting Becky down in any way. As I say, like, she's doing her thing, and everybody needs to. If everybody was doing the same thing, it wouldn't be compelling, right? She fills the role she needs to. But I just thought that particular comment from Lyra, who for months now we've talked about as being not nearly compelling enough, needing something.
Yeah.
Like, she's a sweet girl, hell of a wrestler, but she's just not grabbing us. She needs something else, right? Like, we need her to shine. Give her.
I know what I was going to say. It just popped into my head.
Let's hear it.
And it all has to do with what you're talking about. But at the time where she's saying, you've done amazing things, Becky, you were whatever she says, you were Becky 2 belts or whatever, you were this. And she goes, you were the first women's intercontinental. Oh, no, wait. That was me.
Yeah.
And that was a pretty cool moment. Yeah.
Yeah, it was great.
So she had definitely a few really punchy moments that really got the crowd going and built up a good, background for her to move forward in this story, supporting her character and her storyline.
I think some people might think what I said was crazy, right? Like, how could this be the biggest moment of her career? She's won the Intercontinental Championship. She won tag team championships with Becky at WrestleMania. No, I realize that. Yeah. I'm saying I stand behind this comment. If you really think about it, like, what builds a star in WWE? It's not necessarily the in-ring thing. There's got to be that thing that grabs people by the heart and either makes them laugh or makes them cry or whatever it is. You got to grab them, and this was the first time that I felt like Lyra really grabbed people, and against Becky of all people, holding her own like that. I thought this was her biggest moment ever, and good on her. Unfortunately, traditionally, getting the better of somebody on the way to a PLE doesn't work out well for you at the PLE, and for her to leave Becky flat in the ring like that doesn't bode well for her at Backlash, I would think.
Yeah.
But who knows? Triple H is a wild man. He doesn't like to stick to formula, so we'll see.
Yeah, for sure. Next we had Io Sky versus Roxanne Perez. So again, more NXT stuff. I mean, they've really been kind of promoting Roxanne Perez in this storyline with Io Sky and Rhea Ripley.
Well, she was in Rumble. She made it into Chamber.
You're right.
Like,
stuff
she's
before that,
on the rise for sure.
Io Sky does win this match, but we get another post-match attack. Post-match attack. I don't know why I keep saying it twice, but I like it.
It's wicked.
Yeah, it's so good.
We need to make some shirts that say post-match attack.
Yeah, it's great. It's my new little catchphrase.
I like it.
Post-match attack.
Yep.
Julia comes out with oh no, I've lost it.
How do you mess up after that many times?
Post-match attack. I said it too many times. I got overconfident.
That's it.
Julia comes out, attacks Io Sky with Roxanne Perez. And, this would be a moment previously where someone like Rhea Ripley would come out and help Io Sky, and we're kind of expecting it, but Rhea Ripley's not there. She's in Australia for the promotion of the PLE that we can't remember which one it is.
Right. That's the one. Yeah, and Michael Cole even called that out, like, oh no, Rhea's not here. Like, as if it should be on her to come and save her. But no one did.
No one did. So that's the thing. Nobody came out at all. Rhea wasn't there to come out. Nobody came out, and Io was just left beat up in the ring.
Well, that's what happens when you let Dakota Kai go, right?
Yeah.
Too soon?
I have that in my notes for later. Poor Dakota Kai. She could have helped you. She could have helped you, Io.
I'm sure she would have.
Yeah, she probably would have. I want to talk more about that, but we're going to come back to that. So the result of all of this was Io Sky won the match, but was beat up in a post-match attack.
Yep. Those dang NXT girls.
Dastardly NXT ladies, yes, causing drama. Next, we had Otis and Rusev.
Right.
So Rusev returning to in-ring action. Not too sure how I feel about him yet, but he seems to be promoted as a very deadly figure.
Kind of Goldberg-like.
Yeah, I could see that. I don't. Again, it's not an era that I watched a lot of, so I'm not too
Right.
familiar with it. But
Basically like a guy that could easily play football and
yeah, for sure.
destroy 98% of human beings.
I get what you're saying, definitely. Rusev ends up winning. I mean, he kind of dominates Otis and all of this, and I don't know that this maybe seems a little bit of a weak matchup. I don't mean to be mean to Otis, but I don't know, it seemed a little unfair.
It is what it is, love.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
again,
don't like it. I like Otis and I like that faction, but they're like not super intimidating and kind of sweet. And Rusev is like the scary figure coming in. It seemed like a weird matchup, but anyway.
it's super odd. I mean, the only sensibility here is to show that Rusev can easily beat up a guy that's also massive and tough. But
yeah,
with regard to disrespecting Otis, it's not intended disrespect, but Otis with a different character and a different storyline could be amazing.
For sure.
This Alpha Babes garbage, and I'm sorry, that's what it is. It's garbage. You're in a wrestling promotion where we're supposed to be buying the idea of, legitimate feuds and legitimate matches, and you're flipping to shots backstage of them doing like TikTok dances together, looking absurd. And to me, I mean, nobody's going to be intimidated by this. You've already got the situation working against you with a guy that's 160 pounds in Akira Tozawa.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole thing to me is just, it's for lack of a better word, and I'm sorry to be disrespectful, but it is a joke, and it's arguably the biggest joke in wrestling right now. And you're watching people get let go that have so much potential. Like, why are we watching Alpha Babes when Braun Strowman is being let go?
Yeah.
And I mean, who in the world is going to disagree with that statement?
Yeah, they're like a little island of lost toys. I will say that there's no cohesion to their faction or reason why they're together other than they were all bullied by Chad Gable when they were Alpha Academy. That's really the only tie together that they have. Other than that, there's really no connection. They don't fit very well, and it's just a bit odd. They come off too kind of silly and kind to be any kind of intimidating, and that's just the way it is.
And yeah, you bring this Rusev guy in and you're hoping to make a splash with it, and you put him up against Otis, who, again, I'm sorry, but nobody's giving a shit about that right now.
Yeah.
Like, it's, there were plenty of other people you could have put him. Why not put Rusev up against Braun Strowman?
Yeah.
Let's see what that looks like. There could have been any number of potential matches with people that are still there or people that got let go that make a hell of a lot more sense than Otis and Tozawa. Like, I don't know. That's one I just can't wrap my head around.
Yeah. Yeah, so Rusev wins this match, and there's another little post-match attack where he beats up, like, this is mental too, like beating them up after the match is over and he's won. Like, they're kind of like helpless, and it's
because
unnecessary.
Tozawa thought it would be a bright idea to try and attack him to avenge his pal.
Yeah.
Again, 160 pounds. He caught him in the friggin' air.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, just
a silly matchup. Obviously not going anywhere, this storyline, and not super believable. So, just having him, if what they're trying to do is build up his intimidating factor, having him win against Alpha Babes was not the way to do that. So,
no. Do better.
Do better. All right. Next, we have Pat McAfee and Gunther. a little promo facing off here. So Pat McAfee just kind of questioning Gunther's passion, saying he's gone soft in this time, and Gunther just saying he's going to defeat him at Backlash. It's basically just a promo for the upcoming match on Saturday at Backlash. Not bad, but nothing new or anything.
No, but I did like it. I liked it quite a bit. Um, Pat's a huge star.
Yeah, for
like
sure.
bigger than I realized. He's got his hands in everything, and it appears as though he's one of the real good guys too, and I love that. Um, he's like super good pals with The Rock too. Like I mean, this guy is just a big deal. Um, and he gets in there. This is 2 weeks in a row. He's doing like pretty involved promos.
Yeah.
And he is the commentator. So it's not like you get the lack of mic time, but they're giving him promos now too. And they're good. He I thought did a great job of, setting things up for Saturday, making it seem like there was a chance, that he's going to hold his own. Because I mean, the viability of this is minimal. Gunther's one of the most legitimate badass dudes that's ever been in WWE.
Yeah.
So, the idea of him fighting the commentator, I mean, I know Pat's done some wrestling and I know that he was a football player and I know he's no slouch. He's not a wuss. But we're talking about Gunther. Like, if this was Akira Tozawa,
Yeah.
I wouldn't think it was, that far fetched at all. But it is Gunther, and it seems like there would be heavy odds against him. But he cut a great promo, and I'm excited to see this match. I think Pat can do a fair amount in the ring as well, so it'll be good.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are really excited about it. It's definitely interesting, and we love, just like everybody else, we love Pat McAfee quite a
He
bit,
won our hearts right away. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
we became big fans of him out of the gate, not knowing a lot about, what was going on at the time.
Just him being the announcer and his relationship with Michael Cole, just their back and forth, the way that they are together. We're like, this team is phenomenal. And when there's, a stream of shows that he can't be at, whether he's doing his thing with football or they're going overseas and he can't make the dates, like it's noticeable when they're missing him, because his interaction with Michael Cole is one of the most entertaining parts of watching the show.
And I really like that that's fueled this whole story now.
Yeah.
Right? That it's basically him avenging his brother.
Yeah.
I love it. And we've talked about it long before it became any kind of storyline, just this really endearing connection that they have with each other. You notice it. You can really tell that Pat means the world to Michael.
Yeah.
And now through all of this, we can definitely see that it's a reciprocated thing.
Yeah, two-way street.
Yep.
That's right. All right. Lastly, on this episode, we had the main event, Jey Uso versus Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight title.
You may recall that I said this would be like taking candy from a baby.
Yeah, you did say that. Yep.
It was not.
No, it was not. We got a lot of outside interference. So Bron Breakker obviously providing some outside interference. We have Sami Zayn show up.
Yep.
You think maybe he's going to interfere in the ring. Basically what happens is Seth kind of, after failing to pin Jey Uso, pulls Sami Zayn aside, pulls Bron Breakker aside, whispers something in his ear, which we assume is a direction to do something nefarious. And then Sami Zayn's music hits and he comes out and attacks Bron Breakker so that he cannot carry out whatever that order was.
Right. And in that chaos, Jay gets the better of Seth and hits him with 3 of his finishing moves. The super kick, the spear, and then the Uso splash.
Yep.
And still cannot pin Seth Rollins.
Yeah, you said that right away. You were like, that's all he's got. That's the best that he's got. And Seth still kicked out. So,
noteworthy here. WWE is telling you that there's no situation where Jay is cleanly getting a win on Seth. He delivered the ultimate best of what he's capable of, and I will say that that was his best. This was one of the best matches I've seen Jay in.
Yeah. Yep.
He was awesome and gave, threw everything he had at Seth, and it was not enough to get a clean pin. You know, while this is happening, Braun ends up getting a sneaky spear on Sami Zayn outside the ring. Jey Uso notices it, goes out to tend to his buddy. Braun spears Jay while Paul is distracting the ref.
Yep.
Braun throws Jay back in the ring, and Seth hits him with a curb stomp, and it looks like that's going to be it. Title's coming back to Seth. Just before Seth lays the pin on him, CM Punk's music hits.
Yeah, another surprise entrance. And this one from someone who, has some revenge to enact. So,
yeah, well, he got some beef.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, so he comes out in attacks, and that causes disqualification. So Seth Rollins ends up winning this match by disqualification, but in that he does not win the title. So
no, but silver lining for Seth Rollins fans, you would think that winning with the disqualification would qualify you to be, a number one contender of sorts for another title match. So we definitely haven't seen the last of that. But what I wish we had seen the last of is Seth Rollins and CM Punk. I'm just done with it. There was like a trilogy of matches and then the triple threat at Mania. I don't need any more.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from for sure. It's been a lot. Yeah.
Move on. I want to see this Seth Rollins empire go. I want it to be like
it feels
NWO.
Like we're getting like a taste of new storyline, and then they just kind of brought it right back to the old storyline repeating itself again.
Yeah.
So.
And I know that the CM Punk Paul Heyman thing is fresh, I guess, but I don't know. I want to see it go. I want it to be like the NWO. I want them to build this thing that looks like, oh crap, what's anybody going to do?
Yeah.
And then that gives so much potential for storyline, I like this idea of sort of a Monday Night Raw takeover.
Yeah. We'll see how it goes.
We sure will.
Yep. Lots of fuel to be added to that fire still. So we're just at the beginning,
Yep.
And that was it for Monday Night Raw.
Yep. Good episode. I liked Raw more than SmackDown. They were both good. I
agree.
But I definitely enjoyed Raw more.
I thought Raw was much more exciting than SmackDown.
I used to feel like Raw was better all the time, but recently I felt like SmackDown's really caught up and even the playing field. But this week, hats off to Raw.
Yeah.
With that said, let's hit our first segment.
Ooh, let's do it. Segment number 1.
Top of the pop.
Top of the pop.
Who's it going to be? Who do you like?
Top of the pop. Sorry,
I got a couple of, thoughts on.
I gotta take a look.
I feel like,
we're gonna do 1, 2, 3 again, aren't we?
Oh, you want to do it like that? I was gonna throw out like 3 nominations.
Don't be throwing them out.
Okay.
No.
Wow. If we're gonna do the 1, 2, 3 count, I really gotta hone in on one here.
Do you have an answer?
Yep, I think I do. Yep.
Interesting. Okay. Top of the pop. Yep. I feel like I have a clearer heat this week. But anyways, all right, let's do it. You ready? Top of the pop.
Let's go. So it's a 1, 2, 3. Say it, right?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
right. 1, 2, 3. Jey
CM
Uso.
Punk.
Oh.
Jey Uso was my number 2.
Okay. You know what? I actually agree with you. I think we could go big shock. I think we could go that direction. I still think Jey Uso got a huge pop, but I kind of forgot about CM Punk's surprise entrance there when we were thinking about it. So I like that.
Yeah, well, it was just this kind of hush that came over the crowd as they're, essentially watching what they thought was going to be Jay lose.
Yeah.
And then to have that music hit the way it did, I just thought, yeah, that
everyone was singing his music.
That
and
one
stuff.
popped.
I also, it's unfortunate, but Jey Uso's pop kind of comes with a asterisk because it's like a whole thing now. It's not necessarily just pop for him. It's excitement because everybody's like, I want to do the yeet thing. And it's like the whole crowd's doing it and that's fun. And I'm sorry, but it's not necessarily for him. They like that experience.
And that's part of why I didn't say him. As I say, he would have been, he was on the short list, but I feel like, and he does that whole let's do it again.
Yeah, well, we get sick of that.
I'm more irritated by that than anything. Because again, I'm on the home audience. It's not the same when you're sitting on the couch. We're not in the crowd yeeting.
From home, it is.
It hits different.
Yeah, it does for sure. So we don't love it. But anyways, cool.
Yeah.
So I will agree. I will concede my first pick and agree with you on that.
All right. Hey, look at me go.
Good win for you.
Let's roll into it.
All right, let's do it.
You suck.
Hottest of the heat.
Hottest of the heat.
Well.
This one I already have in my head, so I'm ready to go. You have to decide and tell me when you're ready. Because I got mine.
Yep. Okay. I don't think we're going to line up here. But,
you don't think so?
No, I don't think we will. But I think I'm going to win again.
Interesting. All right, let's do it. Let's see what happens.
All right.
1, 2, 3. Paul Heyman.
Oh, nice.
See?
I like
you
it.
You didn't think I was going to go
Well,
there.
I thought it was a little rogue, right? Because it's not a wrestler. And
I figured the same thing. Yeah. I wasn't sure if you would get there, and I figured you would agree with me if you went somewhere else. But
they dug in on him. And because I remember thinking, oh my God, they're booing the crap out of him. As soon as they hear the ladies and gentlemen, they started booing like hell. But he gives them a minute to boo, and he says, my name is, and they join in. Paul Heyman. And
when he's out in the ring, though, there's lots of moments where he's as he's freaking out, right?
Oh yeah, they were booing the hell out of him for sure. To the point where he had to repeat his promo lines a few times, and you could tell he had them really rehearsed because he repeated them verbatim when he was stopped by the boos and then had to start again. But yeah, good heat, Paul.
Good on him. I think that this was a lot of heat directed right at Paul Heyman. And I think it's been a while since we've seen that. It's more like the surrounding storyline, but this was just for him. I thought he's probably pretty excited about it.
Yeah.
Getting that big of a reaction.
For sure. I mean, he's got to love that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
When everybody says his name with him, that never gets old.
Well, and just a seasoned professional in this industry, he knows what it is to get the I was going to say good reaction. I don't necessarily mean good. I mean good or bad, large reaction from the crowd. So,
Yep. No, he's a maestro. He's the wise man.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing.
Pretty cool. All right. Well, that'll take us into our last segment.
The social.
Pretty good. Sounds good on the ears,
Yeah, it's a soothing jam.
It's a good feeling on the ears.
Yep. It's the live
I
music
have
video version.
paper notes this week, guys, just so that you know.
Old school.
Yeah.
Love it.
We're doing multi-device recording for the YouTubes.
Did I talk last week about Zelina going to the memorial at the 9/11
No,
site?
but we can open the social with that.
Okay.
I don't actually know. We may have talked about it, but
Well, if I didn't
recap it again.
I wanted to say really touching video that Zelina Vega posted about going to the monument for the 9/11 attacks and where her father's name is on the monument and put her new U.S. title on it. It was a super touching, really sweet thing. Yeah, I just thought that was worth mentioning.
Yeah, she posted it on social media. It was really, really nice. I thought it was meaningful. We love seeing moments like that where obviously these people, they're living out their dreams, and in this case it was probably something that she would have wanted to share with him. So just to see her, make that gesture was really nice. And she was like on a video chat with her mom, and her mom was like, I know that he's having so much fun with you right now. He's watching everything you're doing. He's so proud. It was just super beautiful. Sweet. So yeah. Very nice. We like that. First thing I had on the social was WWE releases. I've got the main roster release list here. We talked a little bit about it throughout the episode. Everybody already knows, I'm sure, because it's big talk on social media. But right before SmackDown, we had the release of Dakota Kai. You're already shaking your head. Dakota Kai, Braun Strowman, Shayna Baszler, Caden Carter, and Katana Chance, plus a huge list of NXT stars that were released as well. A few of these, we could live without. A few of them were kind of confused.
Yeah, I mean, super confused. It looked like they were doing something with Dakota, a little while back. It looked like they were really trying to build something out of her. Maybe they just weren't impressed with what they were getting from the crowd. And I guess that's what can be confusing to the viewer is you're like, well, we just saw a bunch of her. Well, yeah, maybe they put her up for a bunch of matches and they just did not like the way the crowd was reacting. And, we've talked about that. It's either pop or it's heat. If you're not getting one or the other, you're not making the money in their eyes. And, my assumption would be that merchandise was not flying off the shelves for, and, it resulted in her not being renewed.
Yeah. And when they see rising stars that they want to bring up, they got to let some people go. And at that point, there's decisions that need to be made. So I do get that. But Braun Strowman, certainly.
That's it.
Dakota Kai, questionable, yes. Braun Strowman, certainly very confusing.
What are you doing?
I don't know. And there's lots of people online I'm seeing saying he was not very good. But I'm seeing a majority of comments of people where we're at going, why would they do this? He is a monster of a man. I find him very entertaining to watch. He is recently in bigger storylines. I don't know. I don't know why they did it.
Not very good at what? Like,
I don't know.
I mean, how many wrestlers over the years were not very good and didn't look half as menacing as him? Like, he's a warrior, and there's gotta always be some sort of storyline to tie him into. I mean, just his physical presence alone should create a space for him in that world, so I just personally don't understand the thought process there, but that's not my job.
Yeah it's too bad.
Wish you all the best though, buddy. We got to see you live a few times, and every time
you're huge.
Yeah,
you're a huge man.
We marveled at your mass. One big SOB is a good way to describe it.
That's right.
Good luck to you all.
Next, we have Hulk Hogan's new venture, Real American Freestyle Wrestling.
Yeah, he and Eric Bischoff dropped the strangest, cringiest promo of all time in black and white, weird. Like it's NWO 1997 again. It was super weird. But say what you want about it. It got the entire wrestling world talking.
Yeah.
And got a lot of attention on them for this announcement of starting a freestyle wrestling league.
Yeah, they're describing it as an scripted and freestyle wrestling league injected with real storytelling and colorful characters.
Yeah, well, they say they're not trying to compete with. They're saying they're not trying to compete with the UFC or the WWE, but be as big as both.
Yeah.
As a different thing, like they are different from one another.
That's right.
I wouldn't say it's impossible. I think there's definitely going to be a lot of eyes on them. So, I mean, if the product is compelling, then I don't see why it wouldn't.
It's interesting. It's definitely, when you first told me about it and what it was supposed to be, I thought that sounds interesting. I don't know how well it'll do. I did read some stuff online about people being a little confused about Hulk Hogan being the face of this for two reasons. One being that it is supposed to be quote unquote real wrestling, meaning that it's not predetermined. And he is the face of an industry that is the predetermined version of that, the professional version of that. The other thing being that he has taken a lot of heat in the media recently. He's not a lot of America's favorite person. So, people a little worried about the success based on those two things, with him being the face of it, but it is certainly an interesting idea. And I like the movement to bring more attention to the quote unquote amateur version of this, which will likely now be more professional. So,
well, yeah, it's the first venue for this kind of wrestling to get paid.
Yeah.
So, and all that stuff about Hulk is true, but hard to think that putting his face or name on anything to do with wrestling could be a bad idea, right? I mean, who's going to be better to market this product? I don't know. Maybe Kurt Angle, but even him being an Olympic champion, the same type of wrestling, I still wouldn't necessarily say that he's a better choice. Hulk is the biggest name in wrestling. Love him or hate him, there's no denying it. He is the GOAT.
Yeah. You're right.
That's it.
Yeah.
Like, it's the conversation starts at who is number two.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like that's where you can start asking questions. I mean, I don't love the fact that is the reality, but it is the reality.
Yeah.
You can't take that away from him.
No, for sure. For sure. It'll be interesting to see how it goes. Speaking of Kurt Angle, you just made me think of this. I listened to an interview with John Bernthal, I think is his name. He is, I don't know if you watched The Walking Dead, but he's Shane on The Walking Dead. Anyways, if you saw him, you'd know him from a bunch of stuff. I listened to his interview. He's married to Kurt Angle's niece, I think.
Wow.
Erin Angle, I think her name is. So he was talking a bit about their family. All this to say, I just thought, no matter what, when I do venture outside of wrestling, it all comes back to wrestling. You and I watched that 90s show the other night, the third season of it. We just watched the first episode. The first episode is like a episode about them watching wrestling, and The Miz is
that's right.
is
I
a
forgot
guest
about
star
that.
on it. So like even when the small moments were like, we'll do something other than wrestling tonight, and it all comes back to wrestling.
I'm almost certain that evening you had even said, like, let's watch something that's not wrestling just for a minute.
And then it was about wrestling.
It was insane.
Yeah. It's
we
funny.
can't escape it, even if we wanted to. It is all through us.
Yeah. Next on the social, I had just a funny little thing. KO, Kevin Owens on Seth Rollins' new faction. On social media, he posted photos of Paul Heyman, Bron Breakker, and Seth Rollins, and the caption said, "Dear Seth Rollins, do you also plan on getting an absolutely insane spray tan job to fit in with the rest of your group? Anyway, miss you." And I just thought that was super cute.
Way to call out the weird spray tans. Because,
Yeah.
like, what are you doing,
Both Bron
and Paul?
Breakker and Paul Heyman. Yeah.
Knock it off.
Yeah. Seth looking like a ghost compared to them.
I mean, just embrace the Sheamus mentality. You don't need that spray tan.
He's one on his own there, Sheamus, I think.
Especially if you're going to sweat like that, Paul. Like, I mean, it's not worth the risk, man.
He got himself all worked up, let me tell you.
Yeah, he did.
Last thing on the social, Vanity Fair. This was actually back in April, but it came up on my social media feed like this week in my suggested things. So I just thought it was interesting. But Vanity Fair did a little piece on Roman Reigns. They had like a bunch of photos. I thought that was pretty cool. Vanity Fair's a pretty big deal. They had a photo shoot with Roman Reigns. They talked about how he said in the interview that he plans to take on a less physical form of entertainment going forward. So just reiterating that he is kind of on his way out of WWE.
Yeah.
They also talked about how he's going to be coming, in an upcoming movie. It's a heist movie called The Pickup, and it stars Eddie Murphy and Pete Davidson.
Okay.
For Amazon Prime. So
cool.
Yeah. So I thought that was kind of neat.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to be the way, right? Build a big name for yourself in WWE and go on to Hollywood.
That seems to be what everybody wants to do.
Yep. Sucks for us.
You know what I just realized? And you're going to be so upset.
What?
We forgot to turn on our neon.
You know what? I did notice it. I noticed it early too.
Guys.
And I thought, I'm not going to say anything because, I didn't want to upset you.
Well,
but
my gosh.
At least we'll have some contrast,
all of our devices now. There's the remote. We could turn it on.
We'll be able to see if it's,
it's done now.
Better on or off.
What are we going to do?
Nothing.
I know. It's over. Sorry.
We're done. We're about to say goodbye.
Literally the last couple minutes. Well, anyways. That's our logo. It normally glows with the neon light.
You may have seen it last week.
And you can see more of it on our social media. You can find us on X/Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. We're at Poppin' Heat. That's POPNHEAT.
Yeah, you can also find us, the audio version on Apple Music, Amazon Music, Spotify, and Audible. And now you can check out our video version on YouTube.
Yeah. So if you're listening to this on Spotify, you can now see us doing it on YouTube. Look it up. Subscribe.
Check out our not lit up sign.
Yeah. That's sad.
We'll talk to you next week.
Yeah. Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.